Ron Fortier retweeted an article talking about concerns in the Detroit area, especially that the Trump people are going around knocking on doors, while there is a feeling on the ground that the Biden campaign is largely invisible.
Yeah, invisible. That's because the Biden campaign is taking their cue from the guy at the top of the ticket and is taking one long lid for the entire campaign. A lid, meaning doing nothing.
Right, Joe, and they are trying to make a virtue out of this, as Leibovitz just laid out pretty clearly. But I actually have been reporting on this. We sent a crew out to Macomb County, which is, of course, one of the critical battleground places, to look at what the Trump campaign was doing. And then I talked to some Biden volunteers as well. I think if we show you a little bit of this, it's very easy to get a sense of why some of these Democrats are nervous about how this is being handled. Let's look at, I talked to these volunteers about what it's like for them to work for the Biden campaign in the pandemic. Then after that, I'll show you a little bit of what the Republicans are doing. Let's start and look at the Biden volunteers. What kinds of protocols and rules did they lay out for you to try and figure out how to run an organizing campaign in a pandemic?
Yeah, so they made very clear to us that we would be just doing phone calls from home, that it's very convenient. You know, we just are able to log in to the call center from our laptops, start making calls from home. We just use.
Oh, how very, very convenient. Just sit at home, munch on some crackers, and make phone calls. Yeah, too bad that as every year that goes by, making phone calls for a campaign becomes less and less effective. I mean, with caller ID, who the hell answers your phones unsolicited from numbers that you don't recognize? I sure don't. I mean, once in a blue moon, I answer my phone and I almost always regret it. It's always somebody selling something. I mean, nowadays, I think the only people that are answering their phones are mostly really, really lonely people, like, hello? Oh, it's so nice to hear a voice. Just keep talking. I don't care what you're selling. What? Oh, you're calling about Biden? Biden. Oh, all right, I'll buy him. What are you selling? Oh, Biden? Yeah, all right, I'll buy him. Well, what you're selling? Yeah, so really, come on. Phones versus face-to-face, what do you think's more effective?
So, quiet of their own home in Grand Rapids. Then here is some video of the Trump campaign volunteers actually knocking on doors in Macomb County, Michigan.
Yeah, face-to-face, talking, looking people in the eyes, talking to them, versus once in a blue moon, you catch somebody on the phone that's probably really lonely. I just want you to talk to me. Yeah, what do you think's more effective, folks?
Suffice to say, the energy is very high in the room. And, you know, I mean, there are obviously concerns about this. I mean, we saw those folks there wearing masks as they were going about their business, which seems to be a good thing. Here's McDaniel rallying up the crowd. Do we have the sound on that? You can see them all gathered together. Let's bring it up. Okay, we don't have the sound on it, unfortunately. But as you can see, they're all gathered together, signs. She's telling them, you know, your future depends on this. So, you know, it's clear that they think, the Biden campaign thinks that they are living their values by doing this way. But there's a real question about whether that's actually going to work. And, you know, Joe, I saw your tweets about what Ron Fournier was talking about and the concern here on the ground in Michigan. It's definitely something we're starting to hear more about.
Time to hit the panic button. The Trump campaign, they've got the energy on the ground. Oh, God. I can't take it if Trump's reelected. I'll go crazy.
Right. You look at, for instance, the Trump canvassers that went up. What were they doing? They were wearing masks. They knocked on the door. And then they stepped back 6 feet. Look at this. So I don't think there's a doctor in America that would say that if they do this and step back 6 feet and come off of that door ledge, that they are endangering anybody.
This is Morning Joe's very polite way of saying to the Biden campaign, will you get off your lazy asses. Quit with the lid days. Don't you see the Trump campaign are beating you out on the ground? Please, please, I can't take it, especially after the election when Mika will never leave me alone with Trump being reelected. You have to live with it. I have to live with it every day. Please, please save me from Mika's wrath. I
don't buy this whole argument that we can't campaign in person safely, because you can. And I understand they maybe made this decision 3 or 4 months ago. Well, they're in the home stretch, and you making phone calls is awesome. It makes a huge difference to target, identify, and get people out. But there's no substitute to knocking on doors and doing lit drops.
Well, and getting that time with voters to actually have a chance to make your pitch face-to-face. I mean, I think we all know that face-to-face interactions, and we all miss them very much in the pandemic. They are oftentimes, and you would know this as when you were a candidate, they're the most effective way to convince somebody to actually take action on your behalf. There's only a few weeks left in this, and, I think the other point that you were raising earlier, everyone said to Hillary Clinton, she didn't go to Wisconsin. What are they going to say to Joe Biden if something goes wrong?
What are they going to say after the election? They're going to say to Joe Biden, what the hell was going through your mind when you accepted nomination, knowing you had absolutely you had zero energy in you. You had to take lid days every other day. You couldn't, and that attitude seeped down to the rest of your campaign. And now, 4 more years of Trump.
Subscribe to the Dummy Funnies now!